Okay, so I hope this model of excellence and diving deep into this model of excellence was useful. And now I'll just touch upon some Lean and Six Sigma comparison definition, because we have said that Lean focuses on elimination of the waste, and Six Sigma reduction of variation. Lean is like mile depth and mile width and inch depth, and Six Sigma is like inch width and mile in depth. So let's see some of the comparisons from some great books. Six Sigma is more closely associated with reducing variations, decreasing defects, and focuses on quality, we said. And Lean methodology is used to accelerate the velocity and reduce the cost of any process by removing waste. So what does Six Sigma methodology advise? Once we identify the value added processes, let's absolutely minimize the variability and get them in control. We spoke about OEM. Okay, Lean tells us don't do a process that does not add value to it. As simple as that. Hitting on the bullseye. Don't do anything that adds. That's what it advises us. So I want to end this debate between which is better. Many of them ask even till now, which is better, Lean or Six Sigma? Lean does not replace Six Sigma, and Six Sigma does not replace Lean. Lean provides additional way of business to bridge their gaps and achieve results. We need both Leans, which brings in speed, and Six Sigma, which brings in quality, principles, and tools to meet needs, drive continuous improvement, achieve results, best competition. That's why instead of Lean, Six Sigma, Kaizen, TOC, and all that, let us look at our organization need GPS, growth, profit, and stability. And in order to give that, you need right products, right quality, right cost and delivery. And you need to observe your process and see which is that process. What is that is coming in the way of meeting the customer expectations? What is that is coming in the way of meeting the customer expectations? And that is what Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt calls it as bottleneck operation. And so what to improve is more important than how to improve. And TOC helps us, gives us some methodology to decide what to improve. Constraint identification, bottleneck identification. And how to improve is Lean, Six Sigma, Kaizen, all that will tell us how to improve. Now, the constraint need not be in operations also. It might be in policy. Your company policy might be a constraint. Your market might be a constraint. You might have excess capacity. Market might be a constraint. Your HR policies might be a constraint. Just because the finance told you that you cannot use a small truck, okay, as a policy. Just because as a policy, some people cannot be given cabs. There is a case study where just because cabs were not provided to supervisors do not have the eligibility to go in cabs. They have the eligibility to go in buses only, that company buses. Please listen to me carefully. There was one company where the supervisors were allowed, supervisors and workmen, okay, they are allowed to go only by buses. And they cannot use the cab what the senior management uses. I'll tell you, that was the greatest bottleneck in productivity or efficiency, okay, during the changeovers. And by giving them this cab facility, what they have lost is actually the cost of cabs, which they can buy every month. What they have lost in terms of sales, because they were not given the cab facility. With that, if they had given them cab facility, they would have bought the cabs themselves. So this is what a policy constraint. How does Lean and Six Sigma integrate? Let's see here. It's good to see how they integrate. We are going to talk about value stream mapping. We call it a project hopper. Okay, this is a very famous common word used in this value stream world. Project hopper. And then we get projects. The projects can be just to do it type of projects. That is, causes are also known, solutions are also known. There is, and it's there, everything is in our control. So immediately we can just do it. So it doesn't require any methodology, it just requires your action. Now you can have certain projects qualify for a mild intervention, which is green belt type of tools, okay? And certain projects qualify for a deep intervention in terms of deeper advanced statistical analysis, which we call as a black belt type. And then you need to sustain. After you do this projects through this methodology of DMAC, using light tools of DMAC, that's called green belt approach, and using some advanced tools and techniques of DMAC called as black belt type of approach. You evolve this as a control plan. The control plan is nothing but a sustenance plan, right? How do you control the gains, okay? How do you sustain the gains? And then from there, you do continuous improvement. You take it, and from there, you take it to the next level, that is continuous improvement. Then again, revisit the future state map and go ahead with this. Now, if you see the project toolkit in black belt or green belt, if it is product related, you can have design for Six Sigma tools or just DMAC methodology. In this, I've already spoken here. And you can also use simple lean tools to improve. What are the type of simple lean tools? Muda hunting, for example, PFAM, for example. So many simple tools that we can use to improve. Was this clear slide or it was heavy slide? So this, I wanted to show the slide from my mind on how the Lean and Six Sigma integrate. If you are new to Six Sigma, if there's design for Six Sigma tools and something is new, don't worry about that. Okay, eventually we are going to learn everything. So coming to analogy of a river or a lake, where you need to cross from one shore to the other, one side to the other. There are rocks under this lake, river, and there is water. And the boat will easily sail through this water with this river or across this lake if the water level is sufficient. Suppose if the water level is lowered, what will happen? So naturally, it will hit the rocks, okay? It will hit the rocks. So let us always remember this analogy. The rocks are nothing but, I'm just giving some representative name to these rocks. One rock is called poor scheduling, long transportation, quality issues, communication problems, supplier issues, lack of housekeeping, absenteeism, line balancing issues, long setup time type of issues. So now, to hide all these ways, to make sure that you don't expose all this, you cover it with inventory. So that the management is always looking at whether the customer is crying or he is happy. You can make the customer happy by giving whatever he wants, by having excess inventory. Like your supermarket, no? You fill your supermarket with more than what is required, so that any customer he comes, you can keep giving. So what happens if the water level is, then it starts hitting this. The reason that I'm sharing this is the foundation for value stream mapping. The inefficiency will manifest as inventory. To hide inefficiency, we produce inventory, and inefficiency will manifest as inventory. For example, let's say that let's start from market. The only thing that is right about the forecast, the correct about forecast is, it is always wrong. The only thing that is correct about the forecast is that it's always wrong. So to make sure that you cover up for the variation in the forecast, suppose if the forecast is X, you produce something extra, against the forecast. Then you come to the operation, the planning guy sees something. So he says, suppose if I give to production, they will always produce less. So he will add buffer. So salesperson will add buffer then to forecast. The sales guys generally tend to add a buffer to the forecast, okay, or a demand. And then the planning guy tries to add buffer to what the sales guy has given because he knows production, there might be a problem. The production guys, what they do is, the planning has given something. He knows about the machines. Machine will have some problems. So he will do a little bit more than what is planned because of various reasons, because of setup times or whatever, absenteeism, whatever. He will plan more. And he also knows quality related issues that might come up. So finally, what will happen is buffer on buffer on buffer and buffer, and we end up in huge inventory everywhere. Then finally, we do stock reconciliation. Yeah, bullwhip effect is also there. So inventory, all this inefficiency will manifest as inventory finally. So there was an interesting observation personally I made, okay? This is when a visitor arrived for the visitor was me. And these people were actually sitting idle. And as soon as they walked in, they started making the boxes. This is a packing section in a very famous company. Whenever I enter, they started making the boxes for packaging something. Even though the product was not there to pack, they started making the boxes. Now, why is this behavior? When management also enters, when the manager enters, or when the senior management enters, or when the visitor like me enters, they know I'm a consultant. Immediately, sir, they'll say good morning, and they'll start packing boxes. And because this was what was happening, it is not the person doing the work that is ugly. It is the waste that is ugly. We are not attacking people, we are attacking waste. So, if you attack people and tell them they should not be idle, then they'll produce waste. It is better and that's what I wanted to communicate through this. So always remember this. Always wage war on waste.